From Capital Games, this is the first conversation I've had with a dev at CG in quite some time. It's great to hear you. How you doing?
Doing well, just getting some feedback on Conquest here. Excited to see how people are enjoying it. Seems like it's going well so far. But yeah, how's your run going?
It's great, and I have to say now this is the easy mode, and so once we get to the higher difficulties for the game mode, I have a feeling that my stress level might increase. But for now, it's pretty easy, and I love the format. I love how much playability there is. I think probably my biggest thing with Conquest or with Galactic Challenges that I felt is that's it. Like it was just over and done so fast. And this, there's so much there. There's so many feats. There's so many battles to get through. It feels like a souped up grand or Galactic War in a lot of ways. So I'm thrilled, and I think my chat is mostly thrilled too. So I think you guys nailed it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and you know, it's been building on a lot of the things we've sort of laid out over the past. Like Galactic Challenges, obviously, really set the foundation for this. We wanted to make sure we had that sort of feat set up, the ability to make these kind of custom battles that had kind of weird setups in them.
Yeah.
Then also all the modifiers. So it's kind of like been building for a long time. Like we've been working on this mode, man, for almost a year, or
Oh,
if not longer.
really?
Yeah, to try and like get something like this together. And yeah, as you said, like you can now play this mode like even if we don't make any changes, which of course we're hoping to do in the future. You could play through this a couple times and you're going to get a very different experience every time you go through with different data discs, different consumables, that kind of stuff. And I think I've had a lot of fun with it. I've been testing it over the last couple weeks, and it's not gotten boring for me at all. So I'm hoping it's got a lot of legs to it. But we'll see. And said when we get to hard mode as well, I think there's going to be a decent jump in difficulty. I'll say, but
Yeah.
I think it'll. There's not a lot to challenge like those really top tier rosters right now, and I think this does that in an interesting way where you're not always just going, oh, I'm just going to bring my GLs in every time, right? Like I want to kind of bring in the best squad that'll kind of just beat this, which I don't think is really much. There's not many game modes in our game right now that do that. That kind of challenge you in that way. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's something I really like. We had a comment in my chat earlier where they were kind of almost bemoaning the stamina mechanic, and I actually love the stamina mechanic because I don't want a game mode that's just, hey, just use your GL Luke through every single battle here. I want it to stretch my entire roster and have me think exactly like you just said. Beat it with the easy or the smallest possible option, or the I guess the team that just barely beats it, like you said. And thanks for the bits, guys. You got some people sending you some bits right now. They're actually coming to me, but thanks for sending them to Crumb.
No, go send them to Cubs. You don't need to send them to me. I have a job. I am very happy with what I do here, so no need to send me money. But yeah, like some people say like, oh, you're just kind of forcing us to like not use our best squads all the time, and like maybe that's like just a money gouge. And it's like, no, I think like, from a gameplay side of things, it really is about like making you use your whole roster in a new way, kind of recontextualizing what squads you want to use at a given time. And like it'd be really easy to like, oh, I'm just going to use my GLs and I'm just going to pound through this whole thing and it's over. And I don't think that's fun in a way, right? Like I think this is way more interesting.
And that's what makes Grand Arena great, right? Because you're going in, you can only use one team once, and this is even better than that because you're giving me the mercy of being able to use a team more than once. I'm just gonna, the team's gonna get less effective as time goes on, which I actually am a big fan of the stamina mechanic because I get to gauge, all right, I've got my SOKR here, he's at 50%. Is he going to be effective enough still? I don't know. And then you've got the stim packs that can kind of counteract that as well. And I think there's so many different layers of strategy that we've never seen before, right? With the key cards, with the consumables, with the stim packs, with the stamina, and all of them rolled into one. So I'm actually not surprised to hear that you've been working on this for a year. And out of every game mode I've seen hit this game, this seems very polished. Surprisingly, I'm not surprised to hear you've been working on it for a year. It's kind of new to us, right? And so I was surprised at first at just how polished this felt.
Yeah, people have been asking us for months and months. I mean, for a long time, like, hey, I want content, I want more stuff to do, and like we started off with the Galactic Challenges, a couple months back, and like that was like, okay, that's our first step into this, guys. Like, trust us, there's more coming. Just give us some time while we try and polish this thing, because we wanted this to be a mode that we can go back to over and over and over again, and is a lot of fun. Because the team has done all the great work on this. I think the map looks really cool. I think how there's kind of like these different options to choose between is really interesting. Really, really cool thing, and hopefully, yeah, it provides a lot of replayability.
Now, you can tell the team I said this. I'm not. It's gonna need a little bit of time before I can say this is for sure the case. But in my opinion, this is potentially the best PVE content this game has ever had. I like it more than raids. I like it because it's individual. There's a lot of customizability to this, and there's just so much going on here, so much strategy and everything. I think this is amazing PVE content. And it does feel like, if I can ask, when you guys were working on Galactic Challenges was meant to be a precursor to this, kind of like Grand Arena and then Grand Arena Championships?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So does that mean that, I don't know if you can answer this, but does that mean that Galactic Challenges are here to stay still and this is just in addition to, or is that going to phase out and just bleed into this?
Oh yeah, no, we're not phasing out Galactic Challenges. Those will still be around for sure. So those are not going away. We're kind of piling it all on top of each other. When people are saying like I want something to do every day in this game, almost a year ago we started having these conversations where like we put out a new raid, we put out the new territory battles, and like people solve that within a couple months, and then that's kind of it. And it's like, okay, well, how do we make content that's just not solvable in one just foul swoop, right? And I think like this is when we started talking about this like a year ago, we knew that we want to do something bigger than that. And so we, put this together and tried to make something that is repeatable and fun in a way that's not just, well, it's going to be the same PvE you've done all over again, right? Like it's just cranking up the numbers or whatever. Like none of that gets interesting after you've solved it once or twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, with that all that in mind of just trying to create something compelling for players to do, every day in the game, like this is just another, building block of that whole story.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, geez, we're seeing right now, the exhibition round. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with this that I think makes this game mode extremely exciting. When you think about it that way. Now, you did mention in stream in the chat, I want to give you a chance to, I guess, speak more directly to this. We've had an explosion of viewers since you showed up. You're very popular, Crumb. You mentioned that you're considering other difficulties for this. Is there anything else you can speak to on that you're willing to share?
I mean, at a broad level, when we went into this, CG Eric has been one of the guys who's been really, really trying to drive this whole mode from the start. And
props to Eric.
Props to Eric, did a great job. Props to the whole team here. Folks have done a really, really good job. The designers, I think, did a amazing job with the data discs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they said from the start, like, we are really open to feedback on this thing, right? It's got a lot of levers and knobs that we can tune, and it's also kind of expandable in some more easier ways. Like we can add a couple more data discs in the future, and that really does change the whole experience. So I'd say from talking with CG Eric and folks that like they are open from top to bottom to try and figure out how this works. I mean, something we also want to be like conscious of is like the amount of time we're asking people to play the game. And if this thing's on all the time, is that too much stress for people? Is that not enough? Like, like, do we need to do more? Like, there's a lot of things we're trying to balance with all of this. And I think like in general, people have a certain amount of time they can play this game in a week. If this is a thing that people have to now invest more time into than their average they'd want to, we don't want to push that too far. So is this, do we take some time off in between? Do we maybe that's not like a full 2 weeks, maybe that's a shorter time? All that stuff is definitely open to conversation. And we'll be gathering feedback over the next couple of weeks, and I'll be sending that off to CG Eric sometime next week and then the following weeks as well. So, please get your feedback on the forums, on Reddit, on streams here, all of this stuff. And we watch everything, man. Like we're still watching quietly behind the scenes for a lot of stuff.
Always in the shadows, always watching. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things that I'm thinking right now is difficulty wise, it feels great for my roster. I'm sure when I get to the hard mode, which I'm confident that I'll get based on my roster size, I might get humbled a lot faster there, and I like that opportunity to grow. I don't like content that's just basically simmable from the beginning, and we've seen that before. I've seen the other side of it where, like, when you brought in Lightside Geonosis territory battles, I just thought, well, screw this, because it was so hard right away. This is seeming to strike a good balance for my roster, but I've got friends who play the game that are new to the game, and this is going to demolish them at first. And so I think maybe one of the biggest areas that I think difficulty will be an issue is probably for those brand new players. New-ish, just hitting level 85, and I think an easy mode would be awesome. You've got the normal mode, you got the hard mode. Let's jump into easy mode. Hopefully, that would happen. But I also think sometimes when you bring in new content, you're thinking, well, new players in this game, they've already got enough on their plate, just getting, learning the ropes and everything. So I'm sure there's a certain part of you guys that are hesitant to give too much to new players.
Well, and that's why we wanted to do different difficulty modes from the start. We knew that there's going to be some players who couldn't do the hard to start with, and we initially had hard. But I think we're open to doing more of that. We also, as you said, there's a lot of stuff for newer players to do into this game, and so making sure there's content for that mid group of players, not just the upper tier stuff. We try and hit all the different groups as best we can. As we go throughout the year of developing new player content, mid player content, and hardcore content for the people at the very top end. What's your GP again, Cubs?
I'm at just over 6.1, if I remember right.
Yeah, no, I think you'll do all right in normal. The data discs, man, those things do a lot, and you may not be able to plow through it in one run, but I think waiting for your top teams or something that really synergizes with those data discs, I think you'll be able to clear normal. Hard. I think.
And there's a lot of fun data discs I found. That's something that I really like with the data discs is some of them have some fun mechanics to them. Looking at my current inventory of data discs, I've got plus 27% offense, plus 22% crit damage, which is, of course, pretty fun. And I love the amplified agony one. Whenever you inflict a debuff, you also deal the 5.1% max health damage. I've got one that adds the defense penetration. We've had a lot of fun with that with Kylo Ren unmasked. Or just OG Kylo Ren. He's been just wiping the floor with those old Republic teams, which is really fun. Of course, this is only in the first phase, and so we'll see what it looks like when we get to Sector 5, how that works. But yeah, I think that you're right. And removing these data discs, I was worried it would be too much of a cost from a Conquest credits perspective, but it's only 5 credits, so I think that's pretty reasonably priced as well.
It's just so there's a barrier, so you're just not swapping them out willy-nilly, right? There should be a value to doing that, and and maybe there's a better way we do that in the future with some sort of separate energy or something. But in the short term, I think 5 is reasonable to make it feel meaningful.
Yeah, I'm also I will say I'm really happy that you guys set the refresh at 50 crystals. I was shocked. I said in a video, I was like, they're for sure going to make that 100, and you started at 50, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think energy is going to be something that people will have to worry about. I think stamina is we wanted them to stamina kind of be the bigger driver of okay, I need to diversify my roster. I need to get in more teams in here and have energy, because there's sometimes you're going to want to go back and repeat these things. You've already maxed out Sector 1, but one of the cool things you can do is once you've got better data discs and you've got maybe some consumables and you've beaten the whole thing, going back to Sector 2 to a mode that this was impossible to 3-star before or impossible to get these feats. Now you've got all powered up and you're ready to just rumble back, in Sector 2. So there's some kind of fun strategies of where do you use your energy and that kind of stuff. But in general, we wanted it to more be making sure you're using your roster in a variety of different ways. You're trying to touch a lot of different squads, a bunch of them that you maybe haven't used in a long time. Maybe you're using them occasionally in Grand Arena, but some of those weird matchups you haven't seen maybe, against Rebels for a while or something like that.
Really cool. I like how you explained that, and it almost feels like, in a lot of AAA games, you're leveling up your character, you're leveling up your abilities as you play through this, and it's almost like a mini game mode where once you get to the end, you've got all of the dope data discs, you're totally souped up and ready to go, and going back and kind of going through your journey and retracing your steps on things that you missed along the way is something you can do a lot more easily once you've got all of those upgrades. So that's cool. That's the reason why I said this from the beginning once I first saw this, but now experiencing it as I'm playing through this game mode. There's so many different layers of strategy that I love about this game mode that I think are really exciting, and I can't wait to keep progressing through and getting to the end of this. And I'm a little nervous to see the hard mode.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too crazy. I said, I think your roster will handle it. I saw some questions in chat asking if the data discs stack, and they definitely do. Okay. You're showing amplified agony. Yeah, in my run right now, I've got 3 of those, and with my Darth Revan team, I one-shot fools off the face of the earth. It is awesome because I've got the the gray one that you have, and then I've got two of the green ones right now, and I think it does 8% or so.
Yeah.
And man, just landing like 3 or 4 debuffs on something just really, really mashes through them. And so like you're gonna see like, oh man, these guys are relic 7 or whatever at the end, you know, in the midst of like hard mode, right? And you're like, oh, how am I gonna beat that? But like you've got a serious power boost from these data discs. Not to mention you got consumables. If you run into a kind of hard matchup, you can kind of push yourself over the edge. Like my strategy would be to save those until you kind of get stuck and then go, okay, cool, let me use a couple of these. And you can also go back to those scavengers and buy those as you need them as well. You don't have to buy them right away. Those are, you know, those stores are open for the duration of the entire event once you've unlocked them. So like, you know, maybe like, oh, okay, I do need that protection booster or the health booster one. You can kind of push yourself over the edge if like I'm just not quite able to beat something. But of course, like waiting for stamina to come back and all that is going to help as well too. So it's a cool mode, and I'm super stoked that people are liking it because we've been working on it for a while, and I've had like this is some of the most fun I've had in Galaxy Heroes in a long time. So I'm glad people are having the same experience here.
Yeah, I was saying very early on when I started playing it, this is what we have wanted. This is what we've been asking for. And there's been, I mean, no offense, there's been a lot of game mode releases over the last couple of years where day one we're just kind of disappointed, and it's not quite what we were hoping for. And this is extremely satisfying because it does hit on every cylinder. And I'm showing, by the way, you were speaking on the consumables. This is my favorite one right here. The 61% defense penetration. That is a stupid amount of defense penetration. I can't wait to give that to Han and Chewie.
Yeah, I mean, I think even like the protection booster is like 120, 140% or something like that. Man. Like that is a lot of protection and health. Like these are significant power boosts, right? So like when you compare yourself, like, okay, I see there's a Relic 3 team coming up or whatever. It's not as hard as you think it is. You're going to have a lot of power to help you get along that way. So, you know, I said, don't be too discouraged, I think, to try this mode out and to also experiment with teams, because I think like certain data discs can be incredibly powerful depending on the squad you use. Yeah. You know, some of them that I was having was like there's a massively overpowered one of the purple data discs that basically does damage whenever you use an ability. You know, like just like Ewoks taking 1,000 turns and just giving themselves buffs means they do damage, incredible amounts of damage just by themselves, right? So there's some like weird strategies. That's the thing that scares me the most is like what weird, crazy strategies are going to come out of this thing, because there's some like definitely some pretty great game breaking stuff, and like we also like want to be okay with that too. That like there are some ways that people are going to make infinite turn meter loops with certain squads. That's what stamina is there to sort of help us. Like, you know, you're not going to use that squad over and over again, but you know, if you want to use the same character multiple times for maybe multiple different squads, you got those stim packs and things like that to kind of like, you know, bring that one guy back up. You know, if you've got a leader that you use for multiple squads or something, or, you know, like Nest or someone who's so flexible, you may want to just like top them off occasionally so you can use them in multiple squads. So, but yeah, I think it's really exciting. I'm so glad that people are enjoying it. I'm watching a bunch of streams today. I'm watching the forums and Reddit and all that stuff, trying to grab feedback. So please keep it coming, man. It's been great.
We will. And the community outreach is great, Crumb. We really appreciate you coming on to talk to us. You're really busy, so I'm going to let you go. I got to ask before I let you go, can I re-upload our little conversation on YouTube as well? You okay with that?
Yeah. Hopefully I won't get too much in trouble for it, but yeah, go for it.
Right, tell us when Bo-Katan's coming, and then I'll upload it.
Oh, sure. You gotta wait for the puzzle for that one. Don't worry.
Oh, is that a puzzle confirmed? Did you see, by the way, I don't know if you saw this. I did a puzzle for my channel. Did you see that? I mimicked you.
Oh, you did? I don't think I saw that. I don't know how I missed that.
I did. So I did the Leia's Mom music video. Have you seen it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my channel loves Leia's Mom, the song, right? And so I made a music video for him. We got a really dope track with it, and so I made it a big deal. And so I actually did a puzzle just like you. Just like you. It wasn't as good as yours, but we still had fun with it. I told them, you guys can solve this because I did it, not Crumb.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, like, I can't spoil the answers to the puzzles, but there are definitely some puzzles coming in the future for sure. I'm working on one right now, as a matter of fact. So, we'll see when that actually comes to fruition here. But, you know, stay tuned and all that fun. But I'll have to check out your video. I definitely want to see the puzzle you put together. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was on. You'll have to check out my Discord server and scroll back. I didn't actually put it in a video. But I think Grid has a stream while they were trying to solve it, and he actually cheated on it. And the puzzle led to a Twitch command, and Gridden just went in and looked at all my Twitch commands and found the Twitch command and just did it, and it dropped the video.
You know, it's really hard to make a puzzle for when people are, you got a ton of people who are banging their head against it, man. Like, I can tell you from firsthand experience, the amount of times I've been like, oh no, they found that already. How did they figure that? They weren't supposed to know that. Oh no, but that's part of the fun of building puzzles, right? Like, people back solving and all that is definitely in the spirit of solving it. So that's it's a struggle, but that's the fun of it.
Sounds about right. Well, Crumb, great work again. I can't speak for everyone, but I can say I'm loving Conquest. I'm stoked about this game mode. I think you guys have nailed it. We'll keep the feedback coming and keep up the good work over there, okay?
All right, man. Keep the good work yourself. Enjoy yourself. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Crumb. All right, fam. That was Salacious B. Crumb. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming for that. I'm going to end this video recording for YouTube, and then we'll continue our stream over on Twitch. If you guys are seeing this, be sure to come over there to say hello.